This is a watch inspired by the beauty of my country, designed by a man that grew up 50 kilometers from my home, but made in Switzerland 2000 kilometers away. This is the Peren Nera Rogue X. I'm pretty sure not many viewers of my channel would be able to point at my country on a map. Famous for gymnastics and dictators, Romania is actually one of the few countries to have an all-encompassing geography. From a rich delta to soaring mountains, from great rivers to the Black Sea, my country's landscapes could serve as the backdrop for any touristic activities aimed at exploring the nature. One such spot served as the inspiration for the watch review today. Lacul Dracului, the Devil's Lake, is Romania's largest karst lake, the type of lakes formed as the result of a cave collapsing. Looking at this unique dial, the resemblance is uncanny and gives the watch a unique appearance beyond the common turquoise, pistachio, Tiffany or whatever other colors are in fashion at any given point in time. This, as the brand's name suggests, is a perennial watch, one that's meant to stand the test of time. The everlasting character of the watch is best exemplified by the quality of the case finishing. Bead blasted and classy don't usually share the same space in a sentence, but the quality here takes the ruggedness to the ballroom. The long lugs look like arches for the second-hand arrow and create a puzzling contradiction I'll get to speak about later in the video. The profile is clean, punctuated by the holes drilled for the quick changing of the straps. The case back is recessed, allowing the watch to hide some of its almost 13mm height, and it's tastefully covered with laser-edged specks that are very well distributed in a series of concentric circles, including the serial number. The unguarded screw-down crown is signed and its finish matches to perfection the finish of the case. The action is also great, there's a clear pop when it reaches the manual winding position, while the thread pickup when screwing it back in gives great feedback. However, this area is where Rogue X only flaw manifests itself, but I'll tell you all about it later. For now, let's just immerse in the unique deep dial. Beyond its color, every detail, every choice takes this watch to the class where watch prices are spelled with 4 figures. Take for instance the gunmetal Rehot, the precise cutouts that nestle the square hour markers, the perfect placement of the Swiss-made printing. The fonts used and the amount of text printed on the dial contribute to a soothing symmetry that is not broken even by incorporating a date window. Everybody knows that 99% of the date windows, particularly the ones at 3 o'clock, ruin the flow of a watch. Well, not this one. I am yet to see an under $5,000 watch with better color matching, size or placement than this one. Flawless. Moving on to the diamond cut hands, not only do they match both the color and the style of the markers, but in tandem with the AR coated flat sapphire crystal ensure maximum legibility at any angle in any situation. One very small detail I'm not entirely happy with is having the minute markings covered by the minute hand, but even this is offset by having a secondary full minute track dotted on the 120 clicks bezel. Speaking of the bezel, this is the best balanced action I've ever encountered. Clicks are loud and precise, there's zero backplay, and helped by the black PVD coated steel construction, defeating the tension requires just the right amount of force your senses tell you it should. The bezel insert is made of steel covered with a layer of titanium nitride applied for both its sheen and superior resistance to scratching and corrosion. Basically a ceramic material, the titanium nitride is also smooth and pleasurable to touch. The markings of the bezel allow the user to easily track a secondary time zone, but application of lume is confined to the inverted triangle at 12. The application of Superluminova BGW9 lume is consistent, and while not offering professional diver levels of luminosity, it can certainly hold its own against any field watch out there. Speaking of which, is this a diver or a field watch? While Andy, the brand's owner, gives credit for inspiration to a Tornec Reveal diver, and the 200 meters of water resistance sound very aquatic, to me this X variant looks 100% like a field watch. Its Rogue and Rogue BW cousins are certainly divers though, as is Peren's newest model. Returning to the X, I guess one of the reasons I look at this as being a field watch is its great leather strap. Its distressed looks make it the perfect companion to a rugged watch, and its 9 notches will help anyone with a wrist size between 6 and 8.5 inch wrist get a decent fit. Yes, you got it right. I mentioned this watch can be worn by smaller wristed people too. Sure, 39mm diameter sounds okayish, but many might be put off by the long 49mm lug-to-lug distance. And that's where the contradiction I alluded to in the first part of the video comes into play. Sure, everybody knows that the real measurement is the lug-to-lug, that it's the height that makes or breaks the watch. Yet, paradoxically to me, the svelte arms protruding far out from the case have the effect of slimming the watch down, at least 1mm. Combined with the beveling of the case back, I truly believe this is rather a watch for average and smaller sized wrists rather than for those over 8 inch. You might have noticed I haven't talked about the caliber powering the watch. I didn't because this is, indeed, its weak spot. Now you're shaking your heads and think I must have lost my mind. How could a Swiss caliber be the weakness of a timepiece, especially when it's in-house regulated to within plus/minus 5 seconds a day? Enter Sellita SW200. As since most of their output is reserved for the watches produced by the Swatch Group, procuring ETA calibers has become problematic, and it led to many independent watchmakers scrambling to find Swiss-made alternatives. Landeron, Ronda, Soprod, STP are all well-known manufacturers, but the most popular is definitely Sellita. They're known for both availability and quality, and I would ballpark 70% of microbrands insistent in having their watch powered by a Swiss movement have chosen Sellita. Of those, I'd guess 80 to 90% use the SW200 caliber that can be found inside this watch too. They're mostly reliable, but a recent survey I took part in on the League of Microbrands Facebook group, to which you're all invited by the way, showed that roughly 25% of owners of SW200 powered watches experience the dreaded helicopter winding. This is a reference to hand winding the movement and the rotor being turned as you wind. It adds weight or stiffness to the feel of the crown and puts strain on the ratchet wheel. If you persist to wind it as it stiffens up, it will do damage. You guessed it, I am one of those 25%. In fact, the proportion might be even more alarming, as those that don't hand wind or just don't pay attention cannot be accounted for. What's truly alarming though, downright scandalous if I may, is the rumor that Sellita sell repurposed calibers in bulk. Unsubstantiated, and I doubt it will ever be proven true, but where there's smoke, there's fire. So, should you buy this watch? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, considering this is supposedly a limited edition release of only 300 watches, I wonder how it's still available on Peren's website almost 2 years after its launch. Granted, inflation has brought an increase in its price, but still, this is great value for money. Thank you for watching. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the second part of the Romanian double feature, the video dedicated to Albert Villa's Eternal.